So welcome to Community Mindfulness, and this week we're going to practice a mindfulness of bearing down with thinking, um, letting it go with thinking, and then rest with thinking. So there's several types of thinking, so let's explore them together. And first we'll close the eyes or cast the gaze down and become aware of your seat. You may be seated on a sofa or a chair. You may be lying down. Lying down is a fine way to practice mindfulness as long as you don't fall asleep. And if you do, you probably needed that. So begin to notice your breath, the inhale and the exhale. And the inhale rising up the spine as you feel yourself lifting just a little bit. And the exhale coming down the spine to the tailbone, and you feel yourself grounded. So inhale, lifting up from the tailbone, up through the body, through the base of the neck to the crown of the head. And exhale from the crown of the head down to the sit bones. And keep repeating that. Inhale, lifting from the tailbone up to the crown of the head. And exhale from the crown of the head down to the tailbone. And then start to be aware, continue to breathe like that, and start to be aware that on the inhale, you're lifting your energy and your body somewhat away from the ground where you're seated. And on the exhale, you let yourself energetically and physically become grounded and firm to the chair and eventually the earth. So inhale is a rising up and away sensation, and exhale is a drawing down toward the ground sensation. And just feel the quality of those two sides of the breath. Associating the inhale with rising up and the exhale with bearing down. The inhale with rising up and the exhale with bearing down. And you can even slow down the breath as you feel those two different qualities or states of being. Slow the breath down. It's sometimes suggested to the count of 5 on the inhale and 5 to the exhale, and you can do that. Or any number that you like. Inhaling to rise and lift and fill, and exhale to release and empty and ground down. And then letting go of that rising and falling in the breath and in the sensation. It can continue, but we're just going to pay attention to something else. So bring your mind to something that you are trying to solve. Not a big thorny problem, not the worst situation that you have, but just something sort of ordinary. and focus on that issue. And let one thought arise, and then let it lead to another as you're focusing on this issue of what you could possibly do or not do to resolve the situation. And just let yourself have a few minutes to bear down into this issue. And one thing will come up, which will lead to another thing, which will lead to another thing. And you just focus your concentration gently, lightly, of course, but knowing you have this ability to let thought arise and perhaps with it insight or comfort. Continuing to breathe slowly and deeply as you allow your mind to hear the words, putting together a sentence or two, and then the next and the next. As you allow yourself to creatively problem solve. And kind and gentle thoughts are welcome. Any critical thoughts, you can purposefully just set them aside. And start to feel some spaciousness around this issue as you calmly and quietly focus. Maybe it felt very urgent or pressing or even distressing. And now that you give it the space of your own creativity and insight and wisdom to arise, perhaps there's a change. Just a few more breaths to allow one thought and then the next to arise on this particular issue. This is listening to thought with an intention. Very good. And now we'll practice moments of rest in our thinking. To just notice the pause between the thoughts and allow yourself to elongate that pause. Perhaps there are many thoughts. You don't have to do anything about them except wait for the pause, wait for a little silence. And then allow yourself to be in that silence until another thought comes. But you're not attached to it. You don't have to do anything about it. It doesn't have to be about anything in particular. But you just wait for the pause between thoughts and allow yourself to rest. Nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to go, nothing you need to solve. Just a state of rest. And because the mind is and does what it does, it will still throw up some thoughts, but you're inhabiting the pause in the thoughts. Take that open space as a rest point. Very good. And now use your thinking to just float away. Allow yourself to go to a place. You can see it in your mind, you can describe it in your mind, to a place that just feels comfortable and light. This may take you right back to your breath. It may take you on a little journey, a little image and word, the two kinds of thought vacation in your mind. But let yourself just float. It may be a place that's full of thought, or it may be a place that's fairly empty of thought, or a little bit of both. Just floating along nicely, following one auditory or visual thought to the next, or one inhale and exhale to the next. Very good. And gently return to the type of breath that we did at the very beginning, where on the inhale you rise up from the tailbone to the crown of the head and feel a liftedness and a pulling away from the earth. And as you exhale from the crown of the head down to the tailbone, you feel a bearing down, a settling on the earth. Inhale, rise up from the base of the spine to the crown of the head, and exhale from the crown of the head to the base of the spine. Inhale from the base of the spine to the crown of the head with a sense of rising up. And exhale from the crown of the head to the base of the spine with a sense of bearing down. And one thing to add on is to pause at the top of the exhale, just briefly, maybe for a second or two, and find the rest there. And then pause at the base of the exhale, the very bottom, just for the count of 1, 2, or more, and notice that rest. So you feel the qualities of rising up, of rest in that open space or emptiness, and the drawing down, the grounding down or bearing down, and then the open space and the emptiness at the bottom there. Enjoy the qualities of each, the rising up, the rest, and the bearing down, and the rest. It's not that one is more desirable than another, but just a balance of the three is optimum. And I'll begin to count backward from 5 as you continue to focus on the breath. And when I get to 1, we can open our eyes and finish our practice. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And thank you for joining us for Community Mindfulness this week.